Today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the best CYPHER cameras and setups for Split. So I'm going to be starting off here on B site because I think that's where CYPHER truly shines on this map. The main way enemies rush into B site is through B main, so it's super easy for CYPHER to lock down as a solo. So getting right into it, there are a few good cameras that really help CYPHER secure B site, and the main one that everyone knows is along this roof here. You need to be standing on top of rafters here, and you can aim just anywhere along the roof of this building and place your camera. And with this camera, you can see anyone entering into B heaven. You can see anyone entering through B main to B site. And another benefit of this camera is that it's pretty high up. So when people are entering B site through B main, they have to clear these angles. They have to clear this angle. So most of the time, looking up here to shoot this camera or look for where the camera isn't a priority. Another thing with this camera is that you can see anyone running out before they can even see your camera. So it's not like your camera will just break without getting information. Now, another great camera you can place from rafters is on this tower here, and you need to be standing on the edge of the rafters just like this, and then you can jump place your camera. And once again, gives you a pretty good view into B heaven. Not as good as the other one, you can't see anyone entering, but you'll see anyone leaving B heaven onto site, and you'll see anyone leaving B main onto site. Now really the benefit to this camera is that it's so high up that it will almost never get destroyed unless it's from someone leaving B heaven. The downside of this camera is that you won't know if they're going B until they're basically already out of B main. But it's still a really good camera, mostly because of the fact that it's not going to get destroyed and you'll still be able to see anyone that enters onto site. So now for tripwire spots, there's a couple good spots right at the entrance of B main along this little trash can here. Right at the bottom of that trash can, it'll attach to the floor. And if you go right under that tripwire, you can place another one, and it will cover right in front of the door. These tripwires are basically impossible to shoot out normally without walking into them. However, these tripwires don't work if you're playing against a Raze or a Sova, because one grenade from Raze or one shock arrow from Sova will clear both of these tripwires. So if you are playing against a Sova or a Raze, I recommend playing more towards the site. If you're playing on the site, a good tripwire spot is along the staircase here. Like this, right next to the site. They'll have to hit it if they want to come around this way and plant the bomb. And another good spot is right along the metal box here. And both of these tripwires are good for if you're playing back site here and you're just playing off contact on the tripwire. You could also do something over here as well, which is good if you're playing heaven and you want to swing and peek from heaven. And if you're playing heaven or you want to support your teammate that is playing heaven, there's a couple good tripwire spots in here as well. You could place one along the box here, right at the top of the staircase, or you can place one along this box right before the exit out of heaven. And both of these are good for if you have to give up heaven control and your teammate can play back here and play off contact on this tripwire, or even if you're playing rafters here and you want to peek off contact on one of these as well. So as far as one-way cages go, there's two alright spots. The first one is pretty easy to line up. All you want to do is walk into the corner here and aim at this metal pipe where it meets the darker wood and the lighter wood. So right about here, throw your cage and it will land on top of the ledge, creating a one-way for if you're playing in this corner here. For the second one-way, you need to line up along the edge of the red part of this box, just like this, and aim just above this metal connector where it meets the roof. So right here, throw your cage, and it'll land on top of the metal part holding up the electrical wires here. And it'll create a alright one-way if you're playing far back. You can see the feet of anyone rushing out of B main. So now for mid. Obviously, I don't think CYPHER is great at mid on this map, but the camera spot I recommend is right above these wires here, just like this. The reason that I like this camera for mid is because you can see anyone pushing up the ramp here. You can see their feet, and they can't see this camera at all. And as far as tripwires go for mid, there's not really anything that you could safely place or anything that would even be worth risking your life to place in the first place. So if you are playing mid here, then I just recommend placing your tripwires over in A heaven or B heaven to help support your teammates there. So for A site, there are a couple good cameras that allow you to get info on anyone who crosses to ramp or starts pushing out onto site. And the first camera, you can jump and place all the way back there, It gives you pretty good height and allows you to see anyone crossing to a ramp or anyone pushing out onto site. Now, it is a super visible camera, so I don't really recommend this one, but it's just an option if your other cameras continue to get broken. Another great spot is right under it. You can actually place a camera in here behind these metal bars, and you can see, once again, anyone crossing to a ramp or pushing out onto site. I like this one better because it's a little bit harder to see behind these metal railings. You could also do a jump place over here to see, once again, the cross or anyone pushing out onto a site. And this allows you to see about half of the site as well. Now, I like this camera because there's really only a small window of time the enemies can shoot it if they are just full pushing up ramp. Realistically, they would have to be looking for this camera specifically because it's decently high up, and anyone just crossing like this will normally be holding the angle from CT, or they'll be holding this angle here near sight. So this camera will normally go undetected. So as far as tripwires go, there's not really anything too crazy. Obviously, you can do something right here on the ramp. If you want to play in this corner and play off that tripwire, it's not bad. You can also do something connecting the corner of this box to the wall here, which again isn't bad, just a weird angle that a lot of people don't expect. Now, on the actual site itself, you can place a tripwire on the corner of this wall like this, connecting it to default. You can do the same thing over here as well, connecting the wall to default. So anyone trying to get behind default will hit one of these wires or have to break it. Now, heaven control is really important for a site, so I recommend a wire like this that connects these two walls, because if you are playing in heaven here, you can wall bang this wall here if they hit the wire. Obviously, the same thing applies to right here. Just if you need to change up your wire position, you can once again wall bang along this wall here if someone hits your wire. But realistically, for Cypher on a site, I would recommend using one of these two wires here and one of these two wires here. So this was my best Cypher setups video for Split. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more Valorant guys like this, then be sure to hit that subscribe button.